And good morning. I am Tamara Scott. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. We are with Truth for Our Time today, powered on Webcast One Live, webcastonelive.com. We thank J. Michael McCoy and the folks at Webcast One Live, Ryan Northfield, our producer, who will make us look good today and get all of the many links and quotes and photos that I've sent him today. Just so thankful to have Ryan. A lot happening. We spend a lot of time on this show dedicated to fighting the Common Core. Why? Because of parental rights, local control, and academic excellence. And all of those things will disappear with the Common Core or /Iowa Core, whichever name they are under. Today, we're going to take a little bit of reprieve because of the pressing news and the action that's taking place at the Supreme Court of the United States. We're going to have online with us today former Senator Rick Santorum. We're talking with him on, in this day and age of hostility towards religious freedom, liberty, and just simply telling the truth, he's come up, I think, with a very clever way of getting information out there. And so we'll have him talking to us. And then Penny Nance from Concerned Women for America, who was at the Supreme Court yesterday in the hubbub and all of the activity. She'll talk with us. And Kerri Kupec. And if you don't know Kerri's name, she is with Alliance Defending Freedom. And Kerri will be giving us probably more of the legalities of it. Kerri, bless her heart, has been very active. Their organization is so active in helping Americans around the country, and I think now they're even international, in defending our freedom. So we'll look forward to talking with them. And we will give you an update on Common Core. We're not going to neglect it, but in between our speakers, if you don't mind. Now, you can join in the conversation at any point. The phone number is 855-244-0077. But first, let me go, if I can, to a trailer. And do we have that? Like we do. Very good. This was on, I think, a TV channel last week, a cable channel, and it just came out, so the timing was perfect. But this is a movie that's come out of Echo Light Company or Echo Movie Company, and it's with Rick Santorum. And I think that just listen to the trailer and watch if you can.
Why don't you worry, Mom? We'll be fine. We got Henry and me.
Mr. Henry isn't here no more.
What?
We're looking for a feller by the name of Henry Myers. Where's Henry?
I told you, I don't know.
I don't believe you.
A changed man, Clay. Ain't the man you knew.
You ain't fooling me, Henry.
High King of Heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joys, bright heaven's sun. Heart of mine own heart, whatever befall.
There's no forgiving for what I've done.
There's hope and redemption for all of us.
Still be my vision, oh ruler of all.
That is from echolight.com, echolight.com. And if you want information on that, you can click on echolight.com. Redemption, that's the name of the movie. Now, the trailer that I saw, and I don't know if you could see it if you're listening online or on air, but that was, the quality was astounding. And this is from a new company with Rick Santorum. We're going to be talking with him when he calls in here shortly. A great idea, a great way to be telling truth in such a hostile society today, and I think it's necessary. Now, why do I say hostile? Because more than just Hobby Lobby, business owners are facing repercussions and offense from those who have contrary views, not because they've done something wrong, but because those who have contrary views, and that's the dangers that we're in. We've talked to you about the bullying bill here in Iowa, and if you remember our show with Linda Harvey and Don Stefanowicz and Danny Carroll, I would suggest you go back to that show and tune in because they informed us, I think it was Linda Harvey, that the anti-bullying bills that are coming across the nation, just like the Common Core bills are, it's the same movement hitting many states, they take away your local control. They take away parental rights. They take away your freedom. And she gave the example of the Department of Justice coming into Minnesota and now declaring that they need oversight over a local Minnesota school district. Department of Justice is now inserting itself in local school districts. This is part of a movement. I think it's all together. I think it all ties in together of losing our freedoms that we've taken so for granted for so long. I think we have Rick Santorum online, and I want to certainly go right to him and not waste any time. Good morning, Senator Santorum. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Tamara, how are you?
I am fine. Thank you, and welcome back to Iowa.
Well, it is awesome to be back. You even got nice weather for me today. Thank you.
Very good. And I know you've toured this state. You know this state. You were the winner of the caucus in 2012, though that announcement was a tad bit delayed. You were the winner. And You've been to 99 counties. So you're back today. So everybody's going to ask you that question. Do you want me to ask you or do you want me to skip?
Well, I'm here because I'm going to stay active and involved in races here in Iowa. I'm supporting Matt Schultz, who's running for Congress here, and doing a fundraiser for him today. And we're going to be very, very active all across the country, and in particular here in Iowa. So you can surmise what you want from that.
And we will, and the press will. And I'm so honored you're taking time to join us. Before I think you've got other press groups today, but did we scoop the rest of them? Did we get you first?
You are number one, as you are.
I so like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I there's 1,000 questions I want to ask you, but today we're talking about religious liberty and what we're losing here in this country. And I want your opinions on that, what you want to give us about the Hobby Lobby, but then I want to get to the Echo Light Company because I just think you have done what's needed to be done for decades in this country, and I'm so pleased and proud of the work you're doing.
Well, thank you, Samara. I appreciate that. And let me tie the two together because actually we're finishing up a movie right now that Echo Light is doing. Echo Light's a movie production and distribution company that makes faith and family films. We actually had one of our films on the Hallmark Movie Channel on Sunday night called The Redemption of Henry Myers. So we make great family entertainment, faith entertainment, Christian entertainment. So that's what we're all about. But we felt compelled as a company to not just at this critical juncture. You're talking about, to me, one of the most important issues, maybe the most important issue in the country right now, which is the assault on religious liberty that's happening across this country and by this administration in particular. And so we actually are doing something we've never done before. We're actually making a documentary, and we're going to be releasing that documentary. Well, let's say this fall to get across this country. It's called One Generation Away. And it's based on the Ronald Reagan speech that, we're only one generation away from losing our freedom. And that's exactly what's going on here. We really are one generation away from losing our basic rights. I always use the quote, it's a Catholic cardinal from Chicago, Cardinal George, quoted during the Obamacare debate when he saw what was going on. He said, "I expect to die in my bed. I expect my successor as Cardinal of Chicago to die in prison, and I expect his successor to die a martyr." That's the concern that I think many people have. This isn't just, along the fringe. This is whether your rights as a believer extend beyond the church doors, or whether all you're allowed to do, which you're allowed to do in most countries, even ones that have religious persecution, they sort of let you have your time in the church, but they don't let you bring your faith and live your faith in your life. And if that's where the Obama administration is, and that's why we have to stand so strongly and so firmly for this liberty.
Said very well, Rick Santorum. And I'm so pleased that you're doing this because we've seen it from the political side. You're not going to, no matter what any party does, you're not going to win people over when they've heard K through college that the white man is greedy, the Constitution's outdated, that free trade doesn't work, and that God is dead and Christians are hateful. And these kids have been told that for years. And I have said it will not matter what any Republican or Democratic or any other party does when kids' minds are being poisoned, and it's coming through the education system and the entertainment industry. And so to see you go into the entertainment industry, I am so pleased. It's been a long time coming. Thank you for doing that.
Well, that's very nice, Mayor. I appreciate that. And it's not just me. As you know, we saw just this weekend, you mentioned God is Not Dead. I mean, there's a movie this weekend that was out that did $9 million at the box, which was, blew everybody away as to how well it did. And of course, Son of God before that. And we had a good night on Sunday night. We had over 1 million viewers of the Redemption of Henry Myers on a channel that's not on a lot of cable systems. The Hallmark Movie Channel is only on about half the cable systems in this country. So we felt very, very good that people are beginning to tune in and realize that something is wrong, and that and the things that they thought they just took for granted. That's you know this because you've been quite an activist in politics. That the greatest threat to America is not the other side. It's not the activist liberals. It's apathy. It's people who sit back and let that happen. I firmly convinced that this country is still a very faith-filled country and believes very much in religious liberty and people being able to live their faith out. But it's apathy. It's not going out there and fighting for it. And the other side, they're just hungry. They want to change things. They want to take it. They want to grab the brass ring and shove it down our throats. And unless we get energized and start making a difference out there, both politically but also in the culture, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And so as you're traveling, you mentioned the Son of God. You mentioned God is Not Dead. We have 2 movies out. We have Noah. I think Ray Comfort has one, and then there's another group out of Hollywood that has a movie, Noah. I think there is a resurgence, and I think for everybody out there who has a faith, do not be discouraged, because what I am seeing, even though we're dealing with cases at the Supreme Court, and who would have ever guessed, Rick Santorum, that in America, people would be hauled before a court because of what they believe, that business owners would be singled out and fined because of what they believe. Not that they've done anything wrong, not that they harmed anyone, simply because of what they believe. And so,
and, the amazing thing about these cases, everything from the Hobby Lobby case, which basically says that because once you have religious liberty until you form a business, then you don't. It's just you can practice it in your life, but you can't practice it in your work. Hello. I mean, what's it for?
Then you have a hobby.
What's liberty about, right? That's number one. And the other cases, which are to me just as serious, are these cases of the wedding photographers, or the wedding cake makers who don't want to participate in something that their conscience says that is not right. It's against their religion. That is an act that is counter to what the Bible teaches. This is not about serving people who walk into your restaurant or walk into your bakery who want to have a portrait. It's participating in an activity that is fundamentally against what you believe. And so, I don't believe that anyone should discriminate against somebody because of at their restaurant because of their sexual orientation. Who knows, by the way?
Right.
You know what I mean? You ask somebody at the door, but to ask someone to participate in an activity which is fundamentally against what your faith is. When there are plenty of other people, I mean, if the issue was that there was a boat that took you between the mainland and an island, and the wedding was on this island, and the only way to get to the island is to take this boat. Well, then you know what? They probably have to do that because it's the only way to get there. But there are plenty of photographers, there's plenty of bakers, there's plenty of people of florists. And to force people against their religious conscience to do so when there are plenty of other options is wrong. And again, it's something that we're on the front line right now in America on it.
We absolutely are. And the other thing that's happening here, the repercussion is that every American, not just Elaine's Photography, not just Hobby Lobby, every American is losing liberty because you vote with your dollar. You vote by how you decide to do business. And if people thought Elaine's Photography was wrong, they would quit going there. That's how you make difference in America. But we're taking that power away from the people by forcing business owners to do something against their will, their belief. And so you're actually destroying the freedom of every other American who may want to support or pull away. We saw that at Christmas time when the Duck Dynasty group did their interview and stood up for traditional marriage, and the outcry came against them. Cracker Barrel made this bold statement and took off all the Duck Dynasty things out of their shop, and within 24 hours, Cracker Barrel rolled over because the public and their dollars spoke. And that's the other danger here, is whether it's the administration or the Supreme Court and activist judges throughout America, you're silencing the power the viewpoint of every other American, not just those before the bench.
That's absolutely true. I mean, these things are best left to the public to work through. And the activism that we have seen on the court over the past 40 years, of course, we all know since Roe versus, and actually even before that, has really damaged the public consciousness. You look at all the things that have gone on in our country with the increase in all of these maladies, everything from the decline in our education, the rise in the out of wedlock birth rate, the violence against women, all of these things all come from the fact that the court, in my opinion, the court has put itself in there, and they are dictating values, and those values are injurious to the American people, and that's why it's vitally important for us to engage and engage in politics, but also to engage in the popular culture. And as you mentioned, when a store stands up and stands up for religious liberty, we need to support them. When people make movies that stand up for the values that we believe in, we need to go see those movies, because let me assure you, the other side does, and it makes them profitable, and that's why Hollywood makes more of them. So we need to be very supportive of all of the folks who are out there who are on the front line fighting these battles.
Absolutely. And I know that our time is officially up. So if you need to go, I'll let you go. But if you can hang on, I want to thank you for your statement on Common Core. Thank you for coming out and fighting against the Common Core. Well,
as you know, I wrote a book way back in 2005 called It Takes a Family. And I spent 1/5 of that book talking about education. And the very core principle that I hold on education is that parents should be in control of the education of their children, and that we need a revolution among parents to take back what is rightfully theirs, which is the right for their child to get the education that they believe is best for that child. It's incredible to me that we have the most prosperous country in the history of the world, and the most important thing for in raising a child, to mold them morally and academically and spiritually, that we take that right away from parents and say, no, the government knows best. And this is just another example of the government coming in and saying, we know better, and we are going to tell you what's best for your child, and we're going to make it the same for everybody. You know what? One thing we all can agree on America, we're all not the same. And so if we're all not the same, we all have different values, and we all have things that we believe are important, then let that grow from the bottom up instead of from the top down.
Rick Santorum, thank you so much for taking time out on your way to other events to join us here on Truth for a Time. I appreciate that. We appreciate what you're doing in speaking truth around this nation.
Oh, well, you're number one, Tamara. Just remember that. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
That was former Senator Rick Santorum, and it's just so fun to watch. Here in Iowa, we understand. We get to see candidates long before other states get to see them, and we get to hear their views. But I want you to understand we take that very seriously in Iowa as well. I think as a whole, the people of Iowa are very tuned in. It's not just the politics or the political people. We have church groups. We have who want to know the candidates, so they invite them to talk to them. We have other parachurch organizations. We have tax organizations. I think we probably have our fair share of lobbying organizations as well, because we're first in the nation. But we're always bringing those candidates into the state well in advance of an election. People are taking time out of their schedules to go sit in crowded halls and listen to people, to hear their views. So it is nothing that Iowans take for granted. They understand the privilege of being first in the nation, and they take it very carefully that they vet these candidates. And Iowa is perfect for that as well. If I can just give you a sales pitch for first in the nation, it's a small enough state that these candidates like Rick Santorum can drive anywhere in a day. They can be shaking hands, and we can go by that handshake rather than a soundbite when we really vet these candidates. Media-wise, they can afford the media channels here where they couldn't in other states. So there's just a variety of reasons why Iowa, being the center of the nation, the heartland, is a great place to have the first in the nation. It's not on the coast where the fads and the trends take off but aren't always good ideas. It's pretty hearty here, good working people, not a flashy folk, but a great group of people who work the land, work hard, and have a good work ethic. And when I say that, it reminds me of the quote that came out yesterday. I don't think I asked you to put this up, Ryan, but there's a link. Maybe we can show it a little bit later in the show. Congressman Braley, who's running for Harkin's seat, made a blunder yesterday. a terrible blunder, but it was actually probably more of an exposure of what he really believes, as he knocked farmers, he knocked uneducated people, which I think Senator Grassley is quite educated. He just doesn't have a law degree, which many people may find a plus, a benefit. And anyway, in an event in, oh, thank you. You've got it. Can we play it? You astound me, producer. Thank you so much, Ryan. We're going to go with this and play it right now.
To put this in stark contrast, if you help me win this race, you may have someone with your background, your experience, your voice, someone who's been literally fighting tort reform for 30 years in a visible and public way on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Or you might have a farmer from Iowa who never went to law school, never practiced law, serving as the next chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Because if Democrats lose the majority, Chuck Grassley will be the next chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
I would be honored to have Chuck Grassley as the chair of the Judiciary Senate Committee. And all I can say here is that donkeys bray, and Braley really did it this time. With that, we're going to go to our first break, and we'll be right back. Joining us will be Penny Nance from Concerned Women for America and Kerri Kupec with Alliance Defending Freedom. Stay with us. We're on webcast1live.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I am administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
And thanks for joining us. I am Tamara Scott, and we appreciate Rick Santorum stopping by on his way to other places in Iowa. And we got the scoop. You heard him. We're number one. We're going to make sure we play that clip, I think, in the future, Ryan. And again, his company is echolight.com, echolight.com. It's, to me, exciting when somebody can do something well, good quality, worth watching, and you don't have to fear what's going to be on the screen, the messages that are going to come across, the images that you'll see. It is high time, long overdue, and I am so pleased that Rick Santorum is taking us down that road. You can see that movie Redemption. We showed the trailer. You can see that movie Redemption, and I suggest you do. It looks really looks interesting, and I don't consider myself a fan of Westerns, but it looks interesting. So we thank him for being with us. We thank him for his stepping out on Common Core as well. Joining me now is Penny Nance. Penny Young Nance is the CEO and president of Concerned Women for America. She's a recognized national authority on cultural, children, and women's issues. And as the CEO and president of the nation's largest public policy organization, she oversees more than 500,000 participating CWA members across the country, with over 450 prayer action chapters, home teams, 600 trained leaders, and she's also the president of Concerned Women for America Legislative Action Committee, Concerned Women for America Political Action Committee, and serves as a principal spokesperson for all three entities. And I am so pleased that she can take time out to join us today. Penny, good morning.
What a pleasure to be with you today, Tamara. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. And so yesterday, we understand that Hobby Lobby in Conestoga Woods, the case was heard before the Supreme Court. And were you there?
Yes, I was. Well, I wasn't actually in the courtroom, but I was out front in the snow and rallying with other pro-life and conservatives who understand what's at stake here, that this is really an issue of religious liberty as much as the other side wants to make it about birth control. But we were all, happy warriors out there, freezing and shivering, but, standing up for truth and standing up for the fact that, women of faith are often business owners, and we don't check our faith at the door when we leave in the morning. We take it with us, and it informs, hopefully, the way we treat our customers, the way we treat our employees, the way we treat the people, our colleagues that we interact with, and it certainly affects what we spend our money on and whether or not we choose to cover abortion-inducing drugs.
Well, I think it's ironic. We see headlines that one of the restaurants was not allowed to put a fan in because passing taxi drivers who were Muslim would be offended by the bacon smell. But yet we're not going to hold on to the long-lost traditions of all the things that we're fussing over. I mean, Penny, we wouldn't go into a kosher restaurant and make them serve pork, would we?
No, absolutely not. The RFRA is the law that has actually come into play in this court decision, and RFRA was passed largely by Democrats because they were in charge at the time. It was signed by Bill Clinton, and it was passed to protect a minority religion. There was a situation where Native Americans, as part of their worship, were smoking peyote, and they failed a drug test because of it. And I think they were able to show that it truly was for their religion. It wasn't them just sitting around getting high. And so the court said, no, you cannot discriminate against this is their truthful, firmly held religious beliefs, and they have a right to practice their faith. And so we've said, you know what, it both apply. It applies to minority religions. It applies to majority religion. People of faith don't check their faith at the door, and they don't stop being women of faith when they buy a business. And it should inform everything we do. But the other side wants to say, no, this is about birth control. Well, one point that I think has been lost in this is that there are 16 drugs covered by the contraceptive mandate, and Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wood only objected to 4, and the 4 were not birth control pills. It was abortion-inducing drugs like Ella and Plan B. So that's not even accurate, although we do support women of faith who have objections to contraceptives, but that's not what this case was even about. So, we've taken a strong stand alongside women of faith and say, you know what, in this country, it's part of our First Amendment rights. And here's another point I thought was so interesting. The Supreme Court has recognized businesses as for their race, because you actually can, actually there's been lawsuits, and just recently there was a case over a minority-owned business. and there was discrimination proven against this business because the business owner was African American. And that's correct. I think that there is absolutely appropriate to recognize that business owners, that are it comes into play. Their race comes into play. We also recognize gender. There's women-owned businesses. They're set aside. We recognize that throughout the federal government. Why do we not recognize the faith of a business owner?
I thought that was interesting, too, and I'm glad you bring that up. WorldNetDaily.com has a great article on that called Pin Drop Obama Lawyer Stuns the Supreme Court Justice. And they're speaking about Anthony Kennedy, who is often the swing vote, making that question, and it was a great question. The article describes it with great clarity. But if you can have discrimination, why can you not have religious freedom? Excellent point.
Well, that's right. It's absolutely right. I wish so much I'd been inside the actual courtroom, but what was described to me by people that were in there, and also incidentally, I was just really blessed to get to have lunch yesterday after the court proceedings with the Hahn family, which is Conestoga Wood, and the Green family who own Hobby Lobby. And so I got to hear directly from them how they felt, and I got to tell you, they're very hopeful. You can't read too much into the questioning. We know that, and sometimes it really throws us. But everyone that I talked to said, I feel very hopeful about this. This felt good. It felt like that our side was very well represented by Paul Clement, who is a very able attorney. He did a fabulous job on this by everyone's account. And, I think that there's a really good chance that we're going to see, the truth prevail in this case, and I'm praying that it does.
And we talked in our last segment with your friend, Rick Santorum. This isn't just about the Green family or the Hahn family. This is for every American, where you can spend your dollar, how you can have power with your dollar as a vote by choosing the businesses you want to do business with.
That's right.
And so we're thankful that someone like the Green family, like the Hahn family, will take the time, the agony, the persecution, and the cost of going before the Supreme Court. We'll be talking next with Alliance Defense Fund, or Alliance Defending Freedom, Kerri Kupec. But even though you have organizations like that helping with the legal fees, this is costly for a business.
It is. Because most businesses just want to do their job and keep their name out of the paper unless it's an advertisement for their business, right? Businesses like certainty. Boards don't like, businesses to come under controversy. It is very difficult for a business to take an out-front position on something that's controversial. But somebody had to. Somebody had to be willing to step out and put their name on this case for all those other business owners who didn't have the money, didn't have the time, didn't have the ability for some reason to step up and do it. And, the Hahn family and the Green families are very brave. It is very difficult. And I got to tell you, the Hahns in particular are very private, very almost shy people. They're Mennonite. They're very, very low key. It is quite a change for them to have all this attention, and it's not particularly welcome. But they felt so strongly that they had to do the right thing. They felt led by God to do the right thing, and I got to tell you, I so appreciate it. We've got to pray for all of them.
Absolutely. And if that's something you can do at home, if you're a believer, certainly take time out. Put them on a prayer list so you don't forget them. Every time you go to use something that you've bought to decorate your home, it very well could have come from Hobby Lobby or a wood product or whatever it is. Take time to remember these families because they certainly do need your prayer. And the court needs your prayer, them or not. The court needs your prayer. The Bible tells us that God can intervene, that he controls the heart of man like he controls the river and the waterways. So,
Tamara, Paul Clement made the point yesterday that it used to be when, the court adjourned at the end of the day that everything was said and done and the justices went back and made the decision based on the information that had been in front of them that day, and that was it. And that's not the case anymore.
Right.
And we know this from the last Obamacare case, that things go on behind the scenes. They are influenced by what's going on in the opinion pages of the paper. So I would say a couple of things. I'll give you several action items, actually, for your listeners. First one's the one you already said, and that is pray. Pray for the Green family. Pray for our Supreme Court, that they come to a just decision. Secondly, if you're the kind of person that writes op-eds and letters to the editor, do that. Write an op-ed. Talk to your neighbors. Pass out information. Don't let the other side dominate the conversation, because they will if we let them do it. We've got to keep talking about the importance of religious liberty. And then the third thing is, I would say, vote with your pocketbook. Go to Hobby Lobby if there's one near you. Pass up other stores and go to that one, and make sure that you buy from them when you're going to buy, the kind of goods that they sell. And if you're redecorating your house and need some new cabinets, or you're buying a house or whatever, if you can afford it and if it works for your family, buy Conestoga Woods cabinetry. See if they can outfit you. So, we don't do boycotts at CWA, but we do boycotts. We try to vote with our pocketbooks and support the kind of businesses that we admire.
Absolutely, and that's the danger of this court case, is because it will prohibit Americans from being able to vote with their dollar. When you take these rights away from companies to have their own beliefs, we deserve, as a people, to support those we believe in and not to support those we don't believe in, if that's our choice. Now, Penny, we're talking about praying and things that people can do, and there might be somebody out there. When I talk to people, a lot of what I sense in the audience is not so much apathy, it's fear. They feel like it's hopeless, and they don't know how to make a difference. Concerned Women for America is a great way for those folks to get involved and make a difference. There are prayer chapters, as you said, across this nation. And here in Iowa, I know we have a healthy and exciting group of people, and more prayer chapters coming all the time. But how would people get involved nationally?
Well, the easy way is just come to our website, concernedwomen.org, and you can click on, any number of ways to sign up via just our alerts, so we can keep you up to date on what's happening, so you can pray, or you can call your congressman, or whatever it is that you would like to do, send an email, or you can go to our state pages and find out how you can join a chapter. Our chapters meet in person. Some of them do online meetings or, over the phone. And there's all different ways that you can be involved. There is something, Tamara, and you know this from your many years of working with us, that there's something for everyone. You may just be the kind of person that just says, I'm uncomfortable in those kind of situations, but I'll pray for you. Well, we need you. We need that. You may be the kind of person that's a donor. I'm really busy running a business and running my kids back and forth, but I'd love to write you a check. Do that. We can't save the world if we can't pay the light bill, right? And so there's all these different ways, different levels for people to be involved, but everybody needs to do something. That's what we're called to do, to be involved and to add, salt and light to the world, certainly with the gospel, but that doesn't mean we check our political beliefs at the door either. We can, our faith, just like it informs our business decisions and our financial decisions, should also inform the way we vote. It should inform the kind of issues we support. We are not simply in a little box as believers. It should inform every part of our life, and it should certainly inform the way we talk about those issues, and we should do it clearly and carefully and caringly.
Absolutely. And Penny, I have some of the photos that you all sent. For those people who are saying, I don't know anything about it, Concerned Women for America will teach you. They will teach you how to understand your government at the county level, the city level, and the national level. And you can even fly out there and lobby at the national level. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of the easiest things to do. It's easier for me to lobby in D.C. with Concerned Women for America because all the appointments are made. I'm just going to walk from office to office and meet with congressional member after congressional member, to whereas in my state house, I have to sit and wait and hope somebody comes out the door and has time to talk to me.
Oh, we take good care of you. So we love it when people want to come and lobby with us. We do a couple of fly-ins per year, and we really train you and help you. We won't put you in a situation you're not comfortable in. You have experienced leaders with you. But yes, we need everyone in Iowa. It's such an important state. It's such an important state. We need, everyone involved, and we need everyone registered to vote. I would be remiss if I didn't say this. It's shocking to me, Tamara, and you know these numbers. There's like 6 million evangelical Christian women. This is not even counting our Catholic friends. Evangelical Christian women in this country. Only half of us are registered to vote, and then on Election Day, about half of them actually show up. We got to do better. We have the kind of government that we deserve. Our founding fathers did a great job of setting up the system, but it doesn't work if we don't participate. So at the very least, we can get registered to vote. And there's another thing that you can do. We will help you set up a voter registration at your church or at your your parents group or your book club, whatever you're doing. We'll help you do that because we need to get like-minded folks registered to vote.
And as we mentioned, sometimes we get discouraged and we think things are just so bad around us, and they are, frankly, they are. But they are not hopeless. We always have hope. We've been in dark places before. Think back to the forming of this country, when we hardly had a military and we were going up against the world's greatest powers. We have a hope. And between what Rick Santorum is doing on the movie company and changing hearts and minds there, between the equipping that Concerned Women for America can do and other groups can do, there is no reason that you can't step out and make a difference. There are people waiting to help you with that. Penny, it's fun too. It's a great time.
Fun.
And I want to show, I don't know if you can see these, but we're going to show some of the photos from yesterday, Ryan, if you can. And
oh, please do. And, come to our website. We have a whole page up of, and also my video from the rally.
I haven't seen that. I haven't. We'll get that too. So we just saw you,
really fun.
The beautiful picture of you in your white coat and the umbrella. And then we've seen Senator Ted Cruz. He was just here in Iowa. He is a champion of religious liberty. He understands the threats that we're dealing with. And besides having a faith, what I really like about him is that he can speak to policy. He's more broad than his foundations are on his faith, which is great. His policy is just
He did a great job yesterday, Tamara, I got to say. I mean, there's some different, of course, I'm close friends with Rick Santorum, and I love Mike Huckabee. I love all, so many of those guys that have all run for president and may someday run again. But I got to say, of all that group, all those names that we all know, that Ted was the only one that came out yesterday and stood in the snow with us. So I said to him, I said, all right, duly noted. I appreciate the fact that you came out. And he did a great job of speaking, and his, certainly his Harvard law background shined as he addressed, those issues. So I appreciated that he was willing to come out and take the time and be a part of what we were doing yesterday.
I appreciate on your photos, you don't just show one side of the argument. There are several signs here that are quite concerning to me that people have this type of logic.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And I have to credit our sweet little Allison Howard for thinking to do that. I mean, my inclination is, let's take pictures of our son. But she's like, wait a minute, let's let people see what it really feels like to be here today. And so she kept taking pictures of those. She wanted people to get a real feel for how it felt to be in the middle of that chaos. And it was chaos in front of the Supreme Court. There was shouting, and Planned Parenthood had, so many people out, and the people there with rainbow flags, and people. I'm sure you've seen the picture of the animal rights people that were
eating a raped animal. I don't get where the raped animal comes in. Makes you a hypocrite if you eat a raped, murdered animal. I don't get that one. And the other one, my birth control, my uterus, and I all deserve freedom from your religion. You absolutely do, but quit asking me to fund your uterus and its activities.
Pay for your own activities. Pay for your, like what? Months ago or a couple of years ago, Sandra Fluke was, a big name, a big deal, and someone put out the press release that she'd gone to work for the Obama campaign. And I said, my press release was, congratulations, now maybe she can pay for her own birth control. Like, you know what? If she wants freedom, stop asking me to buy in. Pay for it yourself. That's real freedom, right? That's real liberty and you being independent. That you actually don't just want my tolerance. You want me to be complicit, and that's where we draw the line.
And if you're a big enough girl to have your own private business, you're a big enough girl to pay for it. So for years it was stay out of my bedroom, and now it's welcome to my womb. So it makes no difference. The irony is quite prevalent. We are out of time. Thank you so much, Penny Nance, for taking time out to join us.
Fun. Thank you for having me on, Tamara. I love you. Love what you're doing in Iowa, and looking forward to seeing you all again soon.
And thank you so much. We'll look forward to having you back in our state soon. And we appreciate everything you do in Washington, D.C. and across the nation. And folks, if you want to get involved with Concerned Women for America, go to CWFA.org, CWFA.org, and then go click on states, and you'll see your local state. And I love it. It was started by a Beverly LaHaye, Christian around her kitchen table. We still meet around kitchen tables around the nation. And because it was a busy mom, she knows you can be involved as much or as little as you like Penny said. We've got to go to break. We're running out of time. We're powered by webcast1.live, and webcast1live.com. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
All across America, there are countless numbers of people struggling with addiction and other life-controlling issues. Probably someone you know and love. There is a way out. There is hope. Transformations Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, has a unique approach to substance abuse treatment. Call now and ask about our Guaranteed Success program or log on to transformationstreatment.com. Transformations. Change your life. Change your relationships. Transform your world.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
And thank you for joining us. I am Tamara Scott. This is Truth for Our Time. We're powered by webcast1live.com. And we thank our guests for joining us today. There's so much going on, and there's so much we need to be involved with. Alliance Defending Freedom has been in this battle for quite some time, offering advice, offering legal counsel, and the coverage of an attorney to go with you into a court if necessary. Often they can stop what needs to be happened with a simple letter to a school district or whoever that may be. And many, many school cases I know that they've been involved in and made a difference, and we're thankful for them. Kerri Kupec is joining me today. Kerri, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, but Kerri Kupec is the Legal Communications Director for Alliance Defending Freedom, an alliance-building nonprofit legal organization that advocates for the right of people to freely live out their faith. Kupec is an attorney who clerked for Honorable William G. Petty in the Virginia Court of Appeals, and she also holds a BA in Political Science from CUNY, Queens College, and has worked in both the nonprofit and higher education sectors. Kerri, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Tamara.
We've had good discussion with Rick Santorum, with Penny Nance. Your organization is somewhat on the inside with these cases, and tell us a little bit how you are involved with the Conestoga and Hobby Lobby case.
Well, our clients are, we represent the Conestoga Wood Company, and that's the Hahn family. It's a small family-owned business that started out of their garage a number of years ago, and they make custom cabinet doors. And yesterday, the Supreme Court reviewed their case and Hobby Lobby's, and the issue there was whether or not the government can come in and force a family of faith and a family of conscience to provide abortifacients or life-destroying drugs to their employees when it violates their conscience.
Absolutely. Let's be honest. If you can't live out your faith every day, if your faith doesn't guide your thoughts, your mind, your actions, it's not a faith. It's a hobby.
Right. And that's absolutely correct. And I think, unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what the disconnect here in the United States is regarding, living out your life like you're saying and your faith. And just because you go to work on Monday doesn't mean you check your faith at the door. And what's interesting is you have companies, say like Apple or Whole Foods or Tom's, and they're very value-driven organizations. These are for-profit corporations. Now, they don't attribute those values necessarily to God, but these families, Hobby Lobby and Conestoga, the Hans and the Greens, they do attribute these values to God, and that's their faith. And so this faith drives their business, which is a good thing. And for some reason, there seems to be this deception that one can't do that, and that's ridiculous.
And let's talk with some of the other cases, because this isn't just one. This isn't just one that's getting a lot of publicity. This is happening across the country. We have the floral shop in the western part of the United States. We've had bed and breakfast in the eastern part of the United States. And I know you're dealing with Elaine Photography, and is that the one that's in New Mexico?
That is the one that's in New Mexico, and we were thinking we were going to hear whether or not the Supreme Court was going to review that this past Friday, and we didn't hear that, which means they reconferenced it. And what that means is that the case has grabbed their attention. So we're hoping for a favorable outcome there, and we're hoping that the Supreme Court takes a look at this case, because it's something that our country has never seen before. This idea that the government can come in and force you to be their messenger and send a message that you do not believe in. And that's what the cases that you're referring to, that's what they really are all about. So we're hoping the Supreme Court takes these cases, or takes the Elaine case, and says, no, this is crazy. This is not something the First Amendment will put up with.
And it's happening right here in Iowa. We have several instances. We had a small cake decorator out of her home 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Didn't do anything rude, couldn't have been more polite, offered them the names of 3 other cake decorators who would be available and would love to do their wedding, but she was just simply, here was her fatal error. Instead of just saying, I'm busy, or I can't, or I'm not taking on new business, which I think every business owner should have the right to say whether or not they want to earn more money. It's only going to hurt them to turn down business.
Sure.
And she said no, and the next thing she knew, the next notice she had, her name was splashed across the TV news stations as fines and charges were being assessed, whether they might charge her officially, formally, or not. And then now more lately, we have the Gortz house. And I don't know, Kerri, if you're familiar with the Gortz situation.
I am a little bit, actually, yes.
And so we have a small business, a very small business, a couple, Mennonite employees, and they simply opted not to do a reception for a same-sex couple. Here's the danger, Kerri. If they can't say no, if they're forced to comply, what's going to stop that same couple from coming back and saying, you didn't give us your best, we could tell you didn't want to do it?
Right. And, and even bigger than that, once we allow the government to come in, whether it's, with Baronelle and Arlene's Flowers, or Elaine with Elaine Photography, or this couple with this gallery. I mean, once we open the door for the government to come in and force an individual to violate their conscience or beliefs by putting their stamp of approval on a ceremony or something like that, that goes completely against who they are, we're allowing the government to come in and basically force us to do anything. So right now, the hot topic issue, obviously, is same-sex marriage, and it's an extremely important one, of course. However, in 20, 30 years from now, that might not be the issue. And so what's going to happen then? Because at that point, there'll be a precedent established that government can come in and force an individual to violate their beliefs in this way. So for people who say, I don't care about marriage, well, they may not care about marriage, but you may not know what side you're going to fall on in 20 or 30 years, whatever issue that is. And at that point, it will be too late, because the government will be able to just say, too bad, we don't care what you believe. We're forcing you to be, our messenger. And that's extremely dangerous, and something that all Americans should be deeply concerned about.
And Kerri's absolutely right. It may be so much worse in 20 years, and here is why. Your preschool through college-aged children are being indoctrinated every day in the school systems as to what is right, what is wrong, whether it's in preschool being told that they're guardians or partners rather than parents. There's an indoctrination there, subtle as it is. Whether students are we've seen now homework coming home where students were given an F and told to take the name of Jesus out. There's a video online right now where a mother, I can't think how old this child was, not very old, 1st or 3rd grade, and she wanted to write about God, and they would not let her do a paper about God. She could write it about Michael Jackson, but not about God. These are the ways that you're infiltrating the mind of our young people. And this is an affront and an offense as well. And we should be in the court, frankly, right now for religious freedom, but it should be to gain back all that's been taken. This was not the intent of our founding fathers. And Kerri, can you speak to that? It was the Christians in our founding documents. It was their influence that gave us all the liberties and freedoms that we've enjoyed for so many years.
Well, sure. And here's what I think is most ironic and most tragic. Really, one of the main fundamental reason why this country was founded in the first place was because religious groups were escaping parts of, Western Europe and things and places like that because the government was forcing them to be a messenger, actually in a religious way, against their conscience. So the reason, as we all know and what we cherish and love about America, is this is a place where we can freely exercise our faith. And because there's a diverse culture and society, sometimes these beliefs are going to clash. There's no doubt. But what we're seeing now is this extreme shift where if you want to just freely live out your faith, which is what our Constitution protects, and which is why this country was founded really in the first place. If you attempt to do so, you're shut down, you're stifled, you're muffled, and there's no balance. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about the First Amendment in particular. People don't seem to understand this sometimes, that it's not this all or nothing, one religious group wins and the other side loses completely. No, there's a balance, and there have been court rulings that ensure this balance, so there's fairness to all parties involved, whether it's the government, whether it's the individual. But right now what we're seeing is no balance. It's all government and no citizen, and that's very concerning, very concerning.
And we've talked, you're right, Kerri, the one thing that we hear this argument over a great deal is the same-sex issue, but duly noted, this case before the Supreme Court right now is not about same-sex.
It's not.
This is about, and we saw the sign, the photos on there, and Ryan, I don't know if you want to put the other photo back up there where the young people are holding up the sign that says, not my boss's business. You're absolutely right. What happens in your uterus, what you choose to do with your body is not your boss's business. So why do you force your boss to pay for it?
Exactly. And what's interesting is, that's sort of the rally cry of the opposition right now. But what's ironic, again, is that they're saying it's not my boss's business. But what they're advocating for is the government to make it their boss's business. And so it's actually the opposite of what they're saying. And again, it's opening the door for the government to come in and force an individual to violate their conscience and beliefs or lose their business. I mean, it's so disturbing. I just want to talk about the Arlene Flowers case in Washington State. That woman, this is an elderly woman who has been in the flower business for decades. The situation there, the couple, or one part of the couple. The couple had come in for 9 years, and they were faithful, loyal customers. And she had served them flowers and provided them services for other things. And then one day they came in and asked for her to provide flowers for their ceremony, and she said, I have to draw the line there. I believe that marriage is one man, one woman, as ordained by God. I'm just echoing the words of the Bible. Very polite. But again, she had a very strong relationship with one of these men for 9 years. And they turned around and sued her. And so these are very real people, real relationships. A lot's going into this. And for the government to come in and completely disregard the right of the business owner is completely unconstitutional. And it's something that's very dangerous.
And proof that she was not hostile or there was no animosity there. She had served them, as you say. Well, Kerri, we are out of time. Thank you so much. Kerri is with Alliance Defending Freedom. You can contact them, alliancedefendingfreedom.org. And Kerri, if someone's got an issue, a concern, they're just not even sure if this is right or wrong, can they call?
Absolutely. We provide we provide free legal help and consultation for anyone who's facing a situation where the exercise of their faith is in danger, and we're more than happy to help them out. And you can check us out at alliancedefendingfreedom.org.
And if you're an attorney and you want to offer your services, I would guess you're always looking for help there as well.
Yeah, we have an extensive network of 2,300 allied attorneys and all across the states and across countries, and we'd love to for them to partner up with us as well.
My guests today have been terrific. Rick Santorum, Penny Nance, Kerri Kupec, as we're talking about the attack on religious liberties. And earlier I talked to you about the bullying bills, the Common Core that's coming through so many school systems, bypassing the legislatures. It is all wound together, as Rick Santorum and I discussed. It all takes away your freedom, your parental rights, your local control, your ability, your value as a person to do what you want with your vote and with your dollar, with your life. And so this is what we're dealing with. This is not hateful. It's not animosity. We're just trying to hone back and come to the true freedom and liberty that Americans have enjoyed, that have brought people to this country for so many years. The clock is winding down, but I need to tell you, if you want to go on and see Indiana, the first state to formally say they're getting out of Common Core, though Sandra Stelsky has concerns that their new program, like Iowa's, is the same thing, that's hardly any different. But we commend them for pulling out. They're hearing us, folks. They're hearing us. They're just not hearing us enough to truly listen yet. So we commend them for pulling out. We hear Oklahoma will be soon pulling away. Keep up. This is an election year. Keep it before your candidates. Ask them the clear questions on all of these issues, where they would be, what they would do. And if they say that's not what part of my office, ask them their views anyway, because it matters. And every office is often a stepping stone to another one. Also, if you want to be part of this, if you appreciate what we're doing here, getting the word out, you can. We're looking for sponsorships, and we've been taken under the umbrella of Crave Ministries. Christians, the number 4 America, Christians for America. You can check them out, and you can help fund this show through that organization. We're thankful for their partnership. And maybe, like Penny said, you're too busy, you've got things going on, but you could give some money to help out and spread the word, spread the truth. We'd like to have you involved in that. So I am Tamara Scott. We are out of time. You've been listening to Truth for Our Time, and we thank you, Truth for Our Time. You can email me at truthforourtime@gmail.com. In the meantime, you've got work to do. We have a lot of freedoms to take back. Be encouraged and never be complacent.